Now I'm ready to do the weaving. And so I'm going to bring my needle out close to the center. This is, the needle will not enter the canvas again until all of the weaving is done. And I'm going to go over this first spoke and under the next one. Over this one, under this one. And I'm just going to go over and under all the way around until I have filled up all of these spokes. You're going to go over the same ones and under the same ones every time. So as you're weaving, if you come to a place where you went under and you're trying to go over, you've skipped something. Okay, so this is the first round, and you can see that it's nice and compact, very close to the center, and that's exactly what I want. Now I'm just going to continue doing this all the way around until it's filled up. And you can make some slight adjustments as you're weaving with your needle by, kind of scooching it in. You can go over and under more than one at a time if you can, and if you can't, don't worry about it. This is a kind of an odd manipulation that, unless you've done it quite a bit, it just takes a little bit to get used to. Now, one thing I do want to caution you about is do not pull your weaving tightly, because what will happen is all of the threads will kind of scooch together and you'll have like a mountain. And what you want is nice and flat with well-defined, just nice and flat going around the center. It should be easy to see after you get a couple of rounds in what's going under and what's going over. And there you'll begin to see some separation, and it makes it easier to move the needle around. But like I said, don't pull it tight, because it will all mound up in the center and you'll have to take it out and start over again. Which is, it's not that hard to start over. You haven't entered the canvas. The thread does not degrade, and the thread that we're using, I'm using pearl cotton for the purposes of the demonstration, but the thread that you're going to be using is a nice fat thread that spreads out. And so even though you see me making several rounds, there's no set number of rounds. It's going to depend on you, your tension, how much the thread you're using spreads out. But you want it to look nice and full. And as you get more threads in, you need to take care that the threads that you're putting in don't slip under the threads that are already there, because that can happen. And so you can see that I kind of put my finger on the weaves as I'm going around. That helps them to stay in place. You can make some slight adjustments as you're going if you feel like you need to. But you need to do it as you go and not wait until you're all the way to the end of it and then decide that, well, this one round back close to the center doesn't quite look the way you want it to look. You won't be able to make adjustments at that point. You have to do it as you go. I want to make sure that my thread doesn't slip behind the other threads, and so I know it's hard to see through my finger. Okay, I think this is going to be about the last round, and my advice, see here I've got this one that's kind of slipped out of place a little bit, so I'm going to see if I can make that adjustment so that it stays nicer. My advice is always, when you think it looks full enough, take one more round, just to make sure that it's nice and full. But like I said, you want to make sure that your threads aren't slipping under the previous threads. You want a nice round look, nice round appearance, with the threads all laying nicely next to each other. Okay, I think that's going to be, I'm going to go under this one, and then I think I'm ready to end this off. And of course I would get a knot right at the end. Okay, now to end it, make sure that's nice and round. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to enter the canvas kind of under the other stitches, so you can't see an obvious beginning and ending. Okay, there we go. These are my woven spokes.